cracking the code on the greatest of all time. This is the GOAT Code. He was born on February 17th, 1936, in St. Simons, a barrier island off the coast of Georgia. When he was 8 years old, he moved to Manhasset, a small community town on the north shore of Long Island, New York. He attended Manhasset High School, where he was a 5-sport athlete. At Syracuse University, in addition to his record-setting football exploits, he established himself as one of the greatest lacrosse players of all time. So overpowering that the rules of the game were actually changed to try to mitigate his dominance. And then, on November 26, 1956, he was selected 6th overall by the Cleveland Browns. We're talking, of course, about the man many consider the greatest player in NFL history. From the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 1971, Jim Brown.
I think he's probably the greatest football player of all time, no matter what position it is.
When you talk about bruising running backs, he's a bruising running back, but he also can run by you.
He was listed at 6'2", 232 pounds. That's as tall and heavy as today's average NFL linebacker. When it comes to speed, it's difficult to separate fact from myth. It's said that in college, Brown ran a 100-yard dash in 9.5 seconds. Now that would have been only 0.2 of a second off the world record at the time. And then there were stories that he once ran a 4.5 40 in pads. Now we can't confirm these numbers, but film analysis does reveal that he could accelerate from 0 to 15 miles per hour in less than a second and a half. That's a faster acceleration than Usain Bolt coming out of the starting blocks. And Brown could execute a 360-degree spin move in about half a second. That's as fast as a spin move we've measured for NBA legend Dwayne Wade. No two ways about it. Jim Brown played football in ways no one had ever seen before.
He wears the title GOAT. It's warranted because I still think of all the things he had to overcome to be great as a football player. But the way he went out and performed under all that pressure, I mean, Jim Brown, I mean, he's the standard, and that hasn't wavered one bit.
He led the league in rushing for 5 consecutive years, still an NFL record. And in 1963, when seasons only lasted 14 games, he ran for a career best 1,863 yards, making him the first player in a single season to rush for more than a mile. While his quickness and speed were unparalleled, his not-so-secret weapon was his upper body strength. His forearm strikes alone could generate nearly 700 pounds of force. That's enough force to break a 1.5-inch thick slab of concrete.
We were in college. Me, Ronnie Lott, and Dennis Smith went over his house to play basketball. He asserted himself. He wanted to remind you that he was still the top dog, right?
That when he walked in the room, everybody stood up and applauded. For a lot of Hall of Famers to stop what they're doing and applaud a man walking in said a lot. So, yeah, he was a very special man, no doubt.
I was a youngster when Jim was doing his thing, but I have 4 older brothers who all told me, Jim Brown is the man.
Here are a few more numbers that Jim Brown posted in just 9 seasons. When he retired at the age of 30, he held numerous records, including most rushing yards and touchdowns. And he is the only player in NFL history to average more than 100 rushing yards per game. And those numbers are only part of the Jim Brown story. We also have to take into account intangibles like balance, strength, and durability. The man never missed a game in 9 seasons. Add it all up, and you have one of the best athletes to ever walk the earth. This is the code that makes Jim Brown a true GOAT, the greatest of all time. For the GOAT Code, I'm John Brinkus.